Tag TV, and Tag Radio, rapidly becoming the leading technology new media in all of Georgia and the Southeast. This edition of Tech Talk is brought to you by Integrated Learning Services, integratedlearningservices.com. Wait, worry, or take control. At integratedlearningservices.com, increase sales, productivity, and client retention. Lower training costs. integratedlearningservices.com. Premier Corporate Membership in the Technology Association of Georgia. It's more than the company-wide enrollment or even the unlimited postings on TAG's online job board. No, it's not the discounts on training programs or even the increased visibility and additional branding opportunities. Might be the access to government services and, of course, the participation in invitation-only events. All of these things can be, well, extremely valuable to a business in today's economy. But it's more. It's really much more. It's a stand-up, stand-out way to say we believe in TAG, and we're proud to be a player in its current community and in the future growth of the state's technology industry. Greetings, everyone. It's Thursday, August 12, 2010, and this is a special TAG Premier Member Company Leader Spotlight of Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella. I'm your guest host, Frank Baia. The unmatched corporate value and exclusive benefits of Premier Corporate Membership. Now over 100 companies plus and growing more each month. Values and benefits, you better believe, but something more, something greater, a commitment to a community that stands together and stands out as truly a technology industry leader worldwide. Here with us today on this special Premier Member Leader Spotlight is entrepreneur, C-level exec, and community activist Mary S. Hester, Chairman and CEO of LAN Systems. In one word best describes Mary, passionate. You can feel it in the spirit that fills the room and in her dynamic leadership skills that has taken LAN IT solutions to one of the most respected in the industry today. Her extensive experience managing a support and service group has resulted in the recognition as best in the industry ratings and standards. Beyond the company's dynamic talents is a culture of service to clients, opportunities to its employees, designing partnerships, and ensuring fiscal responsibility goals. A former electrical engineer at Commonwealth Edison and Advanced Control, she went on to head the Support Services Department for Advanced till being appointed President and CEO for Intelligent Solutions and later Chairman and CEO at LAN Systems, where she is today. Mary serves as a board of the Utility Technology Associates, which conducts the Southeastern Meter School and Distribution Apparatus Schools. She is a member of area chambers of commerce, mentoring and tutoring and after-school programs, and is even an industry leader and coordinator for the Girl Scout Engineering Program. It's both a personal pleasure and a privilege to present a TAG Premier Corporate Member and founder of ISS, as well as Chairman and CEO of LAN Systems, Atlanta, Georgia's own Mary S. Hester. Mary, welcome to Tech Talk.
Well, thank you, Frank. Thank you for having me on the program today.
Mary, I guess probably the best way to begin would be to cover a little bit about your background. Tell us about what you do and a little bit about your experience.
Well, I started I'm an electrical engineer, and my first engineering job was doing transmission line design for Commonwealth Edison. And Atlanta's my home, so I was always trying to get back here to Atlanta. And when my oldest daughter was going to middle school, I figured if I don't move them now, I'll never move them, and I'll be stuck in Chicago. So I came back to Atlanta, and I accepted a temporary job as a support engineer. And I realized that I love doing support, and that's kind of how I got into the IT support business. So I did that for a number of years. It was a temporary job that turned into like a 10-year gig, and did that for a number of years, and then went into sales, and then started my own business.
And LAN Systems, LAN, LAN Systems?
LAN, right, local area network, IT consulting, and just managed services, computer support. I purchased the company about 3 years ago.
Wow.
And so it was kind of for an extension from my engineering computer background and then into support. And one of the things that I found very intriguing about the IT industry was that so many companies, although they do computer support, they don't really support people. And you hear the horror stories from people all the time. But so we've really tried to be very people focused and focus on what the people need to run the computer systems, not for the computer system to run them, so that they can manage their business. And one of the things of being a CEO that you learn is that there's two ways to affect the bottom line. You increase revenue or you reduce cost. And one of the things that we do with our customers is we try to help them reduce cost and increase revenue so that they really do have a return on investment value solution for doing their computer and their IT work.
As you were talking, I was thinking of the advertisement that used to say that I like the product so much I bought the company.
Yeah, right, exactly. Exactly. It's
Well, now the next thing is, there's another cliche about the dog chasing the truck and catching it. It's altogether different to be even a senior C-level executive than it is to actually own and operate the company. The entrepreneurial experience has got to be exciting for you as well.
It is, and it is one of those things that keeps you on your toes and keeps you thinking all the time. One of the things that, as being a CEO, being an owner of a company, is you realize you're always learning. You never really know it all.
Look at the business you chose, too. I mean, you can't, we used to talk about dynamic fluidity, and then it got exponential, and now I think it's phantasmagoric. I think it's a case where, you don't know what to expect when you get up and who merged with what and what changed happened. So I can imagine that providing the leadership that you do to your clients has got to be extremely challenging.
Well, it is, not only in the changing players, but also the changing technology. You hear more about disruptive technology these days, and disruptive technology is sometimes a month-to-month change. So you have to always be up on how technology is changing.
Actually, I think disruptive is so 20 minutes ago, right?
Exactly.
We don't even use that anymore. It's just
we call it something else.
Right. Yeah, today. What happened just in the last couple of hours? Well, that said, what is the focus as far as LAN systems? Is there a primary focus? You mentioned more on the people. Is that what it is? And even, I had an opportunity. We deal with a lot of the members of TAG, and obviously our chairman this year is Robert Hendricks out of McKesson. And Robert was saying how difficult it is to really keep very intelligent, very techno-literate, if that's still a term, employees, because they are so anxious to move on and looking for new dynamics and new creativity. In fact, he used an interesting word. He called technology as transactional, meaning they use it just for what they need it for and then move on to what's over next.
It is, and it is a challenge to keep good technical people interested, because they do get bored very easily, and idled hands are the devil's workshop. So you have to be sure that you keep them engaged with very challenging things. And young people, we talk about the changing dynamics of the workforce, the Generation X, Generation Y, the Millennium generation. You have to manage them much differently than you do the baby boomer generation, which I'm a baby boomer. So the management techniques that worked on me don't work on Generation Xers and Yers. So you always have to be honing your management skills.
And therein lies the efficiency of having a vendor or having a supplier like you to be able to coordinate and control all of that so that I don't have to.
And I think for companies that use IT services like us, what they find is they really do like the breadth and the depth of experience. It's very hard to hire all of the people you need to do all of the different tasks, because then you have to keep 4 or 5 people on staff. So that is a very attractive value proposition.
Talk to us a little bit from especially the perspective of a CEO, but some of the economic changes in the industry, in the IT field itself.
Well, as a CEO, you want to be optimistic, and you do want to give good news, but you have to be realistic. And not only does the IT sector change so rapidly, like you were saying, 20 minutes ago, and it's different, but also this is a tough economy. It's a very challenging economy. I was listening to a report from Greenspan last week, and they were talking about the two economies here in the United States. There's the big companies that seem to have a lot of resources, have a lot of cash, and then there's the small and medium-sized businesses that are very stressed. We mainly deal with the small and medium-sized companies. So one of our focuses has been ways to reduce the cost to them and keep the technology either equal to what they need or surpassing it. So that, like for instance, backup solutions. We used to use tape backups. That was a common way of backing up. But now we're finding new ways for people to solve their backup problems, keep a disaster recovery system at a lower cost, and it still gives them all the protection that they need.
I don't know how a small company can go it alone. I just can't see how they could manage not only the dynamics of what you're talking about, not only the aspect of the employees and keeping an eclectic group of talent on almost call at any time, but these constant challenges. You just mentioned one with backup. I started to think about cybersecurity. I mean, I'm sure that's got to be an incredible issue that comes up, and it didn't matter just a few years ago, or at least it didn't seem like it did. You mentioned economic issues. What about trends? Can you call it? And that's another little bit of a I'm constantly challenged in terms of where we come from to try to look at what's next. And again, we used to talk about 10-year business plans, and of course now we talk about a couple of month business plans if we're lucky, because of the way things change so rapidly.
Well, that's true. Most small companies that are progressive, that think about their future and their growth, they know that their computer system, that's necessary. It's not like in a sense, it's no longer a competitive advantage. You have to have it to be competitive. You can't do things without a computer. So there are a lot of small and medium-sized businesses that put a lot of effort into that, understanding what they have to do. We see, we do lunch and learns, and the topics that we had done early on were computer security, because we get jazzed by that topic. It's a great topic. And we did virtualization and managed services. So we had gone through and done some what we felt were the top IT trends that people are seeing. Cloud computing, which used to be called the ASP model, and we invited customers to it. They were very polite, asked questions, seemed interested, but it's not a very intriguing topic for them. Then we did a lunch and learn on social media, and it was the people were just so excited by it. We're very engaged, asking us all kinds of questions. And I think because we're a computer company, it was easy for them to see that we could give them advice and information about social media without really selling social media to them, with saying this is what you need to do, these are the things you should focus on, and to build your business.
I'm thinking again what some great wise CEO once told me, that if it doesn't save me money or make me money, it's not really important to me. You just said that earlier, so I'm thinking that a lot of the small business owners are kind of looking at those same issues and trying to figure out exactly what are the things that I need to worry about as it relates to those two issues. Social media is such I guess, an enigma that you don't know whether to fear it or to participate in it, but certainly getting information, getting up to speed and know what it's all about and how I can use it or how it can affect me, that had to be a great opportunity for you to share. There's a lot of adulation in what you're saying. I imagine it's a great time, challenging time to be in business, but what a great time to have that kind of knowledge and experience and to be able to share it when people really need it. I mean, it isn't just selling.
It is, and one of the positives we bring to it is that we understand computer systems. We know how they work. We can really talk about that. So many times people look at their computer as some magic in a box, and there is a bit of magic in it, but it's another tool that we use in business, and you have to keep it in perspective, because otherwise you won't use the computer the way it needs to be applied to your business.
One of the things that you hear a lot about now is corporate involvement and community involvement, and the importance of it, not just doing it because it's good business, but because it's part of almost the moral fiber of part of this idea of being an entrepreneur, of really being the kind of American capitalist that is the good side of that whole description, the one that almost unfortunately gets forgotten. Talk a little bit about volunteer endeavors that you're involved in.
Well, I think most people and a lot of people that I know do it almost in a quiet way. Companies give back a lot. We give back we have a lot of volunteer programs that we sponsor and that we help with. One is we do Girl Scout Engineers, and that's because I'm an engineer and a female, and it's just my way of getting out there and telling young women that if they do want to be an engineer, it's a great profession. And so we do some programs with young women, Girl Scout Engineers. We do some work with Rainbow Village, which helps homeless people in Gwinnett County. We don't really think of homeless people in Gwinnett County, but there's a great need, so we assist with them.
Well,
and just recently we had a tag intern, and so we had a young lady, she's 15 years old, and she came and she spent 5 weeks with us as an intern.
What an opportunity for that. Can you imagine having had those kind of opportunities when I can remember intern programs coming out of college, but it was more at the local newspaper or something, and it had nothing to do with any career path or opportunity that I intended to follow. It was just a job that I could get at the summertime. So,
or making coffee, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, don't even go there. I don't know if I'm allowed to even ask you that question or bring that question up about making coffee. We certainly wouldn't do that anymore. We make our own. I make my own.
That's right. Well, and we came up with a 5-week program, and it was very challenging. So she had certain tasks that she had to complete during each of those weeks, and she did a wonderful job, and we were just all delighted. She's very, very sophisticated, intelligent.
I'm thinking like maybe, I don't know, probably 10 years ago or something, the first time that I heard that somebody was sending their child to summer camp, but it was a computer summer camp, and they were making websites and whatever, and the kid was like 5 years old. So I can only imagine the interns coming, they come a whole lot more intelligent, a lot more qualified than even some of the earlier employees that we were looking to bring on board.
Oh, yeah, Frank, that's exactly right. She knew how. I mean, she had her own blog.
Oh, my. Okay, so now the great question that I get to ask more often than not, and it's always a challenging one. And by the way, the question is what's next, by the way. But I have to tell you that you were mentioning the names now that we brand the different generations with, X, Y, and all that kind of thing. And it's my understanding this new one is called Next Generation.
Next Generation.
NEXT, Next Generation. So anyway, so what's next?
Well, we talked a little bit about disruptive technologies. We're always keeping our eyes out for new things because, we all know computers are getting faster, smaller, less expensive. I don't want to say cheaper, but less expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing more things. So we always look at what's coming down the pike as best as we can. Business owners tend not to change too quickly. So, we look for ways to phase that in, ways to save them money, to help them increase their revenue, things that you can do online for a fraction of the cost of going out and doing it, door-to-door or face-to-face. So we try to bring the revenue side, increasing revenue side, to our customers also. Cloud computing, it looks like it's going to get big again. The ASP model has morphed into cloud computing. And so it's interesting because people like me who started with the mainframe, for us, cloud computing is just going back to the old mainframe days where we had, more centralized computing rather than distributed computing. So all those things are very exciting, and it is wonderful to see young people come into our industry with new ideas and, just new hope and new promise. And, I guess, with them texting, we say things about, socially they're going to be, not as advanced as us, but it was every generation that was going to destroy the world. So I think that they're going to do
it's
fine.
Conditioning. We come from our own belief structures, and so we tend to think that our belief structures are the truth. And the reality is now that it's a new reality, and just the chances are they could have a greater relationships and more interpersonal skills doing it electronically than we ever stumbled around trying to do it face-to-face. So.
That's right. And just to watch them interact with a computer, it's incredible because for young people, it's an extension of them. So the next 20, 30 years to see what they do as they become entrepreneurs and business owners, it's just going to be fabulous.
Really, the full promise. Well, Mary, you know what? I don't think anyone that's listening to this interview that would not be hearing the excitement and the passion in your voice. It's 3 years into the entrepreneurial situation, but you sound like really fresh and excited about what you're doing and the work that you're doing. Hats off and congratulations, and thank you for taking a few moments out of your busy schedule to visit with us today on Tech Talk.
Oh, thank you so much, Frank. Thanks for having me on the program. Appreciate it.